This is Breaking Down Security. I am Brian Brake. Welcome back, listener. Episode 2, year 2017. This is Brian and Mr. Betcher, and of course, Miss Berlin, as always.
Hello.
Wow, that was exciting there, Mr. Betcher, for your... You're like...
I was turning the volume down on my phone, so I wasn't really listening. I was trying to concentrate. Okay, got that taken care of.
Oh, good. I'm glad your volume on your phone was so very important.
Hey, it's kind of rude when, the podcast gets interrupted by phone beeps.
Oh, yeah. Please silence your cell phones now.
One thing that I've learned, too, is that when you're up on stage speaking, even if your phone is on vibrate, don't put it on the podium.
Oh, yeah.
Comes over really great on recordings.
Yes, I'm sure Adrian loves that.
Yep.
So, welcome back, everybody. What have y'all been doing this week?
Working like a dog, man.
Really?
Bringing it every day.
Well, Amanda, she's been on vacation all week. She's pretty much... How was ShmooCon? It was the awesomest thing ever, right? Technically, this podcast came out after you've been at ShmooCon. So.
It was great.
Yes, I loved the talks. They were the best.
Right, and the thing with the guy was really...
Yes, it was so enjoyable, the thing. Yes.
I guess I was following on Twitter. I guess the whole lobby is under construction. Well, there's no lobby, and the whole hotel is under construction. So there's no lobby con. They're trying to set up special areas for us. So we'll see how it is when I get there tomorrow.
Wow. Okay, because I know of more than one person who went to ShmooCon, and it's probably fairly cold there right now. So it's not you could do LobbyCon outside at the smoke pit, that kind of thing.
Nope. Wow. And it is. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yes. Tell us about it next week.
Right.
Yes. I'm so confused. I don't even know where we're going. So
I don't do well with time travel.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. My DeLorean's broke. So Mr. Betcher, has there been any new malware we need to worry about?
New stuff? No, I mean, there's this, I forgot what it's called. It's a Trojan going around. It's very popular, apparently. It seems to be the most popular one we're getting. It's just a single one. Okay. So I wasn't prepared to talk about it, but hey, I think it's called Janitor by some organizations, a Janitor Trojan.
Well, I doubt it's from China because it's Chinese New Year, so everybody's on vacation. They're all celebrating their birthdays and stuff.
We've had a downtick recently, so yeah.
That's cool.
I have noticed, though, that looking at our data, and I have to say, if you're not actively monitoring this stuff, you're getting behind because we've adjusted our techniques and we're now blocking things like JavaScript and WSF files and things. So when they come in, we block it, and then we notice that we've blocked more and more lately. So we went from maybe 10 a month 6 months ago to we're blocking 600 a month now.
Goodness.
Just in email attachments. So,
I was going to ask if you're doing it via email or endpoint protection.
Yeah, it's via email is what I'm referring to as far as blocking certain attachments. So we looked at, for example, JavaScript, and we said, well, how are we going to affect users? So we did some data crunching, and we got one email with a JavaScript file in the last month that was legit. So we're like, okay, we're blocking this crap. And good thing too, because most of the ransomware that comes in the environment is through these JavaScript attachments. Yeah. So, and of course you have Word docs as well. But hey, just by setting in a simple block to block those attachment types and types inside of zip files, that's 500 potentials per month that we're just cutting out right from the gate. So make sure that you're monitoring those and actively looking at the trends.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice segue because this week we were going to talk about threat lists and IDS, IPS rule sets.
Yeah.
So, Miss Amanda, you do quite a bit with threat lists, then, yeah?
Yeah.
More than us, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, there's a lot of different tools that can adjust them.
yeah.
But, yeah.
And I see these things I get sometimes talking about Yarra lists. What is Yarra exactly? Is it a type of threat list, or because it's like Yarra rules? Yarra is a popular
rules.
tool that provides robust language which is compatible with Perl-based regular expressions used to examine suspected files and directories and match strings. So these are different rule sets that people use to find indicators of compromise, from what I can understand.
Yeah,
Right.
Yarra rules are used. You can create them. I think
Yeah.
Mandiant has a Yarra rule creating tool where you go and select. It's like a GUI where you can select, oh, I want this hash, or I want this file in this location, or I want this key in this area of the registry, things like that. And if any one of these match, and you can do like chaining ands and ors on all your rules. And if all these things come together and match up, then block it, or you
Right.
got to hit something
Okay.
like that. That's what a Yarra rule is.
Okay. Yeah, I've got. There's a link in the show notes to a place
I've
called.
I've seen the
Security
same kind of thing with like Carbon Black.
Okay.
So endpoint tools would use Yarra rules, or they can ingest them, right? So
Right.
I'm sure different companies have Yarra rule sets that you can download, right?
Yeah. So, and they're all free, right? Because I mean, I'm looking at one from Emerging Threats. It's a different kind of threat list or whatever. They block based by IP address.
Yeah, a
Or
lot of
by-
them are based on IP and domain.
How effective is that though? Is it hard to get off of these things once you get on? Let's say you have an actual legit IP address that ends up on one of these things.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a whole other topic. So I used to I don't want to. Now I feel old, but like
Back in my day.
back in my day,
Huh.
I did like ISP support. I was like second level help desk ish kind of, and we would help other mail admins fix their servers.
Okay.
Because some old lady calls us and her Thunderbird isn't getting this email anymore, and after we're done helping her with her modem strings, trying to get back connected, we would then let the other mail admins know how to get themselves off of these kind of block lists.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of different mail blacklists and stuff that you can get on if you have a bot infected that's sending out mail on your network, and they catch you can actually get like on a permanent block list if it's that bad. They have some that you can just request, say, hey, I fixed it, take me off. Others you have to prove that you've done something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I used
fast
to.
forward to the present, Amanda. What do you do today?
Well, I don't do anything like that anymore. But as far as these lists go, so we have a lot of customers that want to alert on any activity to do with these threat lists, which is a horrible idea.
So not blocking, just alerting?
Yeah. So, if the end user goes to a website and it has a callback on an ad that goes to one of these threat listed IPs, it's going to send off an alert. And it happens all the time. And it's rare that you can set up, a bulk threat list to just alert on.
Yeah.
Especially the free ones that are out there.
So if you're not a global company, it actually would make more sense to block based on, say, I don't know, level domain. So if you know that all of your people are U.S. Americans, you don't do any work in China, Russia, Botswana, anything like that, it would make more sense.
You could do it by geo, like geo IP.
GOI. Okay, so you would just block the whole AppNick range or whatever that they have.
Right.
Could you just block by
Yep.
.ru? Anything .ru is going to get blocked.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But like I've had a couple people say that they don't do business in such and such country, but they do and they just don't know it.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like, "Oh my gosh, this application stopped working." Oh, that's because the vendors in X, country or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think blocking by these, blocking at your firewall with these lists is a good idea, but alerting on them is probably not the best approach.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you'd block silently. You wouldn't, or
yeah, like if a malicious ad somehow somebody opened a web page that was serving malicious content, not from that site, but cross origin or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be blocked by default. They wouldn't see the ad, and then you wouldn't be bothered with a freaking alert.
Wouldn't it just be easier to make rules based on stuff that happens to your organization? So, if you've got a web server and your web logs are out there, and you can parse through your web logs, and if you notice this IP is trying to do some kind of weird HTTP request that's obviously some kind of cross-site scripting, could you use something like deny hosts or what's the other one that we use at work? I forget.
You're getting into something
like web app security.
Yeah. Or
more detailed.
If you've got SSH running on your an exposed endpoint or something, and you've got IPs that are banging on it after so many wrong IP, you can or wrong attempts, you can blacklist that IP. Would that not be easier than taking these lists that are curated by somebody who gets things all over the globe and puts them in?
Well, you got to have good firewall hygiene, and I think that would take care of a lot of that. No one would be able to bang on port 22 on this site if you blocked it at the firewall initially.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't have good firewall hygiene, then yeah, there needs to be some sort of an audit on your firewalls and to say, what is this IP talking out?
Yeah.
And if you find out that nothing on your DMZ should be talking outbound, then maybe you should put a rule in or find out what's talking out and nail that down first. Maybe somebody's got a rogue app somewhere that they were doing some testing on and it's calling outbound. You could be exfilling gigs of data and not even know it.
Yeah.
Were you thinking of fail to ban?
Yes, failed to ban. Yes, that's the one we use at work. I've used deny hosts at home when I had an SSH server exposed because I was using it for. I may have been getting around web blocks at my previous workplaces, and I used it along with a squid proxy to get around certain things. Anyway,
right.
So these rules do they specify that so this IP address was like a known command and control? Or, this one was doing, Shodan searches for port 23. I mean, or do you want to set this up so that you're blocking both ingress and egress? So, okay, I've got this spam house or I've got this emerging threats, list of 1,000 IPs. Do I want to block it incoming and outgoing so that, I'm covering all my bases? Or does it make the delineation between, this was seen by Yahoo as the site that was being, exfilling data to? I mean, is there a way to make that delineation, or is the delineation ever made that way? You're on mute, Amanda.
Sorry.
That'll get you every time.
That's what I get for using the software button and switching tabs.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I think some of them categorize a little bit better than others when they, they'll tell you that, right? Like this is a botnet, or we've seen a certain type of activity coming from whatever. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them, I think, are community fed, especially the free ones.
Okay.
A good portion of the free ones. So there's industry standard threat lists that you can subscribe to also. Mm-hmm. So like if you're, healthcare, there's a specific healthcare one, and those types of things you have to pay for.
Yeah.
But I still don't know that they're worth what people pay.
Yeah, it seems like that there's enough free ones out there that you are kind of ignorant to be paying unless they're curating it specifically from like who's that? We had Brian Engel on talking about from the retail CISC people, the Information Security Knowledge Centers, that they get specific threats, so they may not give that out to the free ones. So there may be additional IP addresses that you would see additional value from that because they'd be people in your industry vertical. So
these free ones, you got to be careful. Like you got to think who contributes to them, right?
Oh.
Well, it's got to be community based or crowdsourced, whatever the catchphrase is, and probably 90% of people who use it are just going to leech, and 10% may be the ones that contribute. Are those contributions vetted, or whatever? Do I want to shut down Facebook, so I just add a Facebook IP?
Yeah.
Right. In some of these things, maybe I don't know. Maybe they have to have 5 different contributors that confirm the same IP address, and then they'd add it to the list. Not sure. I wouldn't put too much stock in the free ones though, just because I've seen malware command and control or download links put up on Amazon, and in 4 hours they're gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a constantly moving target.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, you mentioned that like 10% of the people probably submit to these lists. What type of person do you think actually submits? Is it the young and eager people that are like, I'm really, really helping out when I submit all these IP addresses? Or I don't know.
I mean, what benefit do you have by contributing? I don't know. I've submitted bad URLs or malicious URLs to all the different browsers, and then a couple hours later I'd click on it and it would show a big red screen and say, hey, this is malicious.
Oh, cool.
So I've contributed in those ways, but
right.
As far as trying to knock down IPs by taking the time to add them to these lists, it's tough. If my organization is hit, I might contact the Chrome team and say, hey, take a look at this, because it only takes a couple seconds to do that. But I don't know, unless I script it and I really wanted to help out, not sure.
Yeah,
these things come and go so quickly, it's probably not worth it.
The other thing about not using the free ones first is you may be paying for stuff that you could get for free.
Right.
If you're paying, I don't know, whatever endpoint security company out there, oh yeah, I'm getting their stuff, and we're paying $100,000 a year. It might be the same stuff you're getting from emerging threats, or the same Yarra rules that you could pull from, say, Virus Total, or those kinds of things. So
yeah, but then again, you're betting, or you're betting the security of your organization on the kindness of strangers, right?
Sure. But this is the 80-20 rule, isn't it? I mean, not all of, like Miss Amanda has said before, she's looked through some of these rule sets and have found 10 dot addresses or 192 addresses, or those things. So some of these are not curated all that well. You'd have to parse through all the way, and putting 10 dot addresses in there could DOS your own network. You would not access, say, a web server or DNS if you had the same IP address or you shared the same IP address.
If you're sticking 10 dot addresses in here and just blindly doing these blocks, you probably shouldn't be using you probably shouldn't be using the open source stuff, right? You're not at that level yet, so you should probably be moving to a managed service until you can curate your own self, right?
Yeah. So these are all threat lists, but does it state what the threat is? Like, is this a command and control server? Is this a spam? Is this an open relay mail server? Or that's what I'm not. That's because it seems like some of the threat lists work for like just putting them in your firewall because it's just a bunch of IP addresses to block.
Right.
Are there threat lists for IDS and IPS as well, or are those more specialized?
Yes, and they are more specialized.
Okay, because I don't have a lot of experience with this stuff myself, so that's why I'm asking these questions.
Right.
And then, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I
was going to say that SANS one breaks them up. So SANS, ics.sans.edu has one that lists like different domains. So like ones that have malware, ones that have had command and control, ransomware, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. They got one malware domain list, domain block list from malware domains.
Oh, yeah.
Zeus command and control, that's still a thing? I didn't know Zeus was still a thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And then
it has derivatives too. I mean, it has children and grandchildren now, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
People have taken the Zeus idea or source code and implemented or changed, things so that they're harder to detect, more advanced, does other things.
The Zeus source code was a CTF flag once for CTF that I did.
Really?
Was getting the Zeus source code.
Okay. Well, what's good about this one, at least for the SANS stuff, looks like they limit the amount of submissions per 24-hour period. So that's good. I mean, so you can't put several hundred, IP addresses and perhaps DDoS, somebody's managed service provider or something like that. Because I could definitely see how you could use these lists to, an abuse list to actually make abuse happen, that kind of thing, or denial of service.
So on the IDS and IPS, I mean, you can buy large rule sets and add them daily to your own IDS implementation.
Yeah.
People do that. So if you own and manage your own IDS, but obviously if you just have one guy there doing it, they're not going to be able to constantly massage these lists, and they don't have the worldwide visibility as some companies do, monitoring, quote, the internet for threats. They could be adding 50, 150 rules a day based on what they see in the real world going on. They get reports, hundreds of reports a day, and they have monitors going off in all different organizations all over the world. So yeah, they're updated constantly, and it might be a good idea to pay for this service if you already have an IDS. You just need updated rule sets.
Yeah.
Right. So you pay for that, but it could offer really good value.
So
and they come with what the threat is. Some of them have pretty good documentation on what to look for, things like that.
Yeah.
Or what it's looking for. So
yeah.
So yeah, that may be an option for you.
So who updates these things? It's not just, Joe average intern guy. I mean, we're talking like if you're updating these things on a regular basis, you've got to have a security operations team, or if it's a small group, I guess you're also the IS guy is also the guy doing the updates, right?
Yeah, or it could be automated. But somebody with Moxie has to go in and say, okay, we're updating it with this rule set every day at this time, and implementing those new signatures on their IDS and making sure that works every day, right? It's not breaking.
Yeah, have a testing period first before you just blindly
really?
Accept all the new rules.
Really? So these rules could actually break something?
Oh yeah,
it's possible.
Huh.
I mean, and then, well, another way to go is to have a managed security service to update your IDS and IPS rules, right?
Well,
so you
like
hire a company to maintain your IDS for you.
If you have an IDS from one of the big major companies, you're automatically getting updates, right? Because that IDS will reach out and pull down the latest things, right? So for the most part, that's managed. I mean, it
depends on the company.
Yeah, I was going to say if you just have a built snort or suricata box, I mean you can script all that, but you're going to have to be doing that stuff some type of manual way. Yeah, testing the new rules and everything.
Right, it's based on your budget and your people.
Right.
So you got choices there, right? You can buy the threat list, you can make your own threat list, which, the DIY solution, I really don't recommend, because one person or one company may not have that global reach to see all the new threats to come out there. It's kind of like doing AV signatures on your own, right? Not getting those AV downloads every day and running scans. You just put in what you see, and you're not going to get everything. You're not going to get 1%.
It's nice to know how they work, I think, and how to create them just in case you ever need to. But I think, trying to hand massage IDS rules into whatever you see in your environment, there's got to be other things wrong with your. I mean, if you're sitting there worried about that, everything else in your environment better be fine.
Yeah, I just I wouldn't recommend that, right? To try and do your own IDS signatures. There's too much coming out. Some of these companies put out 100 new rules a day. There's no way that one person can do that. They've got a huge team creating these signatures, and they're not just IP addresses. Don't get me wrong. No. They are pretty detailed. Like, oh, we have this one malware family downloads this particular certificate so that they can establish encrypted communication with command and control. We don't know where that command and control is, but whenever we see this certificate get downloaded, that's a red flag right there. Boom, you've got malware, right? Wow. It's little things like that you're getting from these rule sets that you'll buy or the managed service. You can't really do that on your own unless you actually capture the malware. You're actually decomposing it and capturing that network traffic that it's doing and saying, there's the signature. And you got to be really good to do that. And you may get one of those. You may be able to come up with a security certificate snort signature in, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours. You finally get it knocked out. What else is going through your environment while you're working on that? It's
a lot can happen to your network in 5 hours. So
right,
if you're not paying attention. So
I mean, if you're reverse engineering that stuff and trying to get one signature for one attack, there's thousands of other attacks that could be going on at the same time. So I wouldn't go there unless you are an analyst for a particular, managed service company. Yeah, that's your job. Go for it. But if you're one guy in a 200 person shop, no way.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So for those folks out there that are using those things, it's just, remember that they're not I hate to say silver bullet, but they're not something that you can just set and forget. They have to be curated. They have to be maintained. They have to be, still useful, because what indicator of compromise or what IP work, you were getting Zeus command and control traffic sent from one day will not be the same the next day, or
right. And also, if you think you can hire a managed service provider and just say, okay, we're good. Yeah. You might be shooting yourself in the foot. Always be testing your managed service provider, right? Be a pain in their ass all the time, and
be a polite pain in your ass.
and they may appreciate it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have I'm in charge of a good handful of different kinds of customers that, some of them have us as a managed service provider, and just for that checkbox, we manage their IDS, we give them a SIM, it's done. Yeah. They don't care to test. They don't want a proof of concept on any alerts. They don't want anything from us other than a bill. And then others, like Mr. Betcher said, they're a pain in the ass, but they're a good pain in the ass because, they're constantly testing us and upping our game. And they always have, amazing ideas when it comes to their specific environment. And sometimes those carry on to other customers. And it's just a constant give and take.
So
our service provider, when we find some malware and we test it, and they catch about 80% of the stuff we detonate in the lab. But that 20% that they don't catch, we send it to them. So they actually are getting some of these signatures from us, I have to believe, if not from other people at the same time. So in that way, you're helping out everybody, right? You're not only keeping tabs on how good they are and how good they expect, nobody's going to be 100%. So you got to know, they're going to catch 80% of this. And if they start falling off, like we have seen during certain times of the year, it may be just a coincidence, but yeah, if we see them tailing off, we're going to call them out and say, hey, what's going on? And here's some more samples. Oh, thank you. And then we'll detonate it maybe 3 days later and they'll catch it. Cool. So that way we know they're doing their job on the back end, so that we're able to say with a reasonable level of confidence, yeah, these guys know their shit and they're doing that 80% for us.
Very nice. Okay. Well, I mean, unless we've got anything else to discuss with regard to threat lists, I wanted to move along to our next topic. That actually, you can hear some of this on what's the name of Tim's podcast over there?
Exploring Information Security.
Okay. Yeah, you can find that. I'm sure we'll put a link in the show notes to Miss Amanda. You were on that show as well, too, right?
I was. I don't know when it was released. I think we recorded it in December.
Okay.
It was released a week or two ago.
Okay, that's
I think. So yeah.
Now we're talking in the future, so it's confusing.
Right.
Yes.
So 3 weeks ago then. I don't know. Depends on how long it takes you to edit.
It'll take like 2 minutes. So just listen to our show and then go and listen to Amanda talk to Tim DeBlock on his show over there. And
so both Wolfgang Gorlick and I were on the second part of he had like a mentoring 2-part podcast. Okay. So the first was on being a good mentor, and the second was being a good mentee.
Okay.
So it's kind of a twofer. But,
okay, and you said there were some things that you didn't get to in one part. So
I got really ranty.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah.
No.
Right?
All right, so let me ask you a question. How many of you, raise your hands, have ever been a mentor? I kind of fell into it. Wait, Mr. Betch, you've been a mentor? Who you mentor?
You said have never been.
Oh, I said.
And for the listening audience, all three of us have raised our hands.
Well, it took me a little longer because I was still in shock, but I think everybody mentors at some point in their lives. And
should.
Yeah, and I think you fall into it. Like, people will ask you questions, and for some reason they think that because I have a podcast, I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
So they'll seek out and ask advice about things, and I'm like, I don't know, bro. I just know what works for me. I was a mentor for Mr. Betcher. He got a CISP. I actually took him under my rather large wing here. Say what?
You told him to do that?
It was a thing. He had to get it. So.
Oh, okay.
It was for work, but I put him under my rather large wing here, and guided he got it on the first try, so he did really well.
Sweet.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. We talked before the podcast, and I asked Miss Amanda how many times she had mentored somebody, and she said she was about 1 for 5. So let me ask you something. Does that make you a good mentor or a bad mentor?
Good, of course.
So you're the best mentor you know.
Yes.
You have high standards. 20% survive.
Yes.
The rest of them, no, they just quit InfoSec altogether.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Right?
They're like, I'm going to go into music composition or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm going to be a liberal arts major now.
Wow. Yeah. Underwater basket weaving. So,
Which is hard in its own way.
So let me ask you something. You said you've had about 5 people that you've tried to mentee about. I'm not sure you
I was
had.
just guessing.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
were
because
just
I mean
guessing.
they were all different levels as well.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So for the one that you thought did really well, because you said you had about one, what made it so that it was that way? I mean, how did that mentee work where the other ones may not have worked as well?
Um, just I think more of it is the constant communication
Uh huh.
and um uh we go to a lot of the same events.
Mm.
Whenever there's a CTF going on, we'll bounce ideas off of each other, and
Is
you
it
know
necessary for you to work at the same company?
I haven't worked at the same company with any of them.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Because I wondered if the closeness or the ability to walk down the hallway and ask that question it would be important.
No, I don't live near anybody, so I never have that luxury.
Oh, okay. Right on.
It'd probably be a good idea if you're looking for a mentor to find someone outside your company,
Really?
or at
Yes.
least outside your group, right?
Okay.
In another division of the company.
Okay.
Unless you've just started. If you've just started, that's different. They can mentor you in your job, but if you want to learn about things that don't have to do with maybe your day-to-day work,
Mm-hmm.
um, because let's see here, one of them was a sysadmin. One just did like programming and vulnerability assessments.
Mm-hmm.
One was a student, just not really knowing where to go with it. So like they didn't do what I did.
Yeah. Okay. So for for me, I always tried to find people that would be where I wanted to be. So, um,
Yes.
I wanted to move at one point into doing more management stuff. So I tried to reach out to people who were managers. Now I'm thinking about, well, maybe I could try to do more technical stuff. So I reached out to people who are more technical. Um, it I actually have a couple of mentors that I reach out to for questions, but I always find it's good to do my homework in terms of googling things and questions about career advice
Before
before
you,
I go to
yeah,
them, so I have kind of an
exactly.
idea of where they might have me go. But I think I use my mentors more for validation that the research that I had was in fact true. And
I
sometimes I
think
get
that's
different
great
answers. Some things are slightly off, but for the most part, yeah.
because all right. So I think that's the perfect way to approach as a mentee to a mentor because their time's valuable. Your
Mm-hmm.
time's valuable.
Yeah,
Nobody wants. Why should you go and ask them something that they're just going to tell you to Google yourself?
yeah,
Once you get stuck, that's what your mentor's for.
sure, okay,
If you are reading as much as you can and it's just not sinking in,
mm-hmm.
I have that problem a lot. So if it's something new, like I'm trying to learn Python, um, and it just does not come naturally to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of tech things do, and programming just does not. So if I have a question, like I want to talk to somebody and say, all right, this is everything that I've tried and this is what I'm trying to do. What like what am I missing?
Yeah,
So you're not going to them and saying, what do I do now?
yep,
With a blank slate.
exactly. Mr. Betcher, what say you? How do you handle? Do you have a mentor right now? Please don't say Michael Goff. Please don't say Michael Goff.
No, not
He's a
really.
punk.
I've changed like directions with the business and stuff like that. So I'm focused on bringing my A game every day to my job and to when I get home coding.
Mm-hmm.
So, right now I don't have the need for a mentor in that respect,
Sure.
but as like the business starts going forward, I might. Like
Yeah.
maybe somebody's real good in marketing or something. How do I market this thing, right, that I've created?
The world is your mentor.
Yeah, I
Find an
mean,
MBA or somebody like that who's knows how to run a business and talk about some
yeah,
pitfalls,
or
that kind of thing.
entrepreneur, something that a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So yeah, not right now, but I like the list Amanda came up with, for mentors, right? Set
Okay.
expectations and boundaries, right? You have to be upfront with people that approach you. Like, if you don't want to be bothered on weekends, just tell them I don't want to be bothered on weekends. You can get with me in this method, text me or whatnot,
Yeah.
send me an email, but never call me.
Yeah.
I hate phone calls,
Well, the
things like that.
number one really sets what 2 through 7 are going to be, because it's like
Right.
if you go to bed at 9 p.m. at night in Pacific time and your mentee is in the Eastern time zone, I better not be getting a phone call at 3 a.m. my time, just as that person's waking up, going, "Hey, what should I do?"
Right.
Respect time zones, respect sleepy time, because grumpy mentor.
It's very important.
That's right. So, finding a good fit. What does that mean? I mean, can anybody be a good fit for a mentee? For a you could be my mentor. Does that necessarily make you a good fit, though?
I mean, you have to get along with them first off.
Do you have to? I mean,
You should. I mean,
I don't mean being strictly
it makes it
antagonistic.
easier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean strictly antagonistic, but I mean, if that person has skills and you don't necessarily like the way they do other things, there's ways you can learn from them and still not necessarily want to,
But
hang
would you
out with
want
them.
that to be a structured mentorship?
I think there are structured mentorships, right? I mean,
Yeah, but would you want that with somebody that you really don't like?
I guess that would determine the mentee's expectation of the mentor, and whether or not the guy wants to take the time if he is, not happily, enjoying your company.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's still ways you can learn from anybody, even if you're not thrilled with who they are.
Oh, sure. I've learned from some real assholes before.
Explicit tag set at.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's almost 11 here.
I
That means
understand.
I'm allowed to say.
No, that's cool. All
My
right,
kids
so
are in bed.
But it's it's going to be emotionally challenging for the mentor if the mentee is not a good fit for them.
true.
That too.
You're spending your time, you're trying to help them, and they're just being an ass, or they're they don't listen,
Yeah.
or any number of things could just be a turnoff
Speaking
for a
of
mentor.
listening,
So yeah,
so it says be an active listener. What does that necessarily mean? I mean, is it like drop everything, concentrate on the person at the time?
well, yeah. I mean, this goes along with number 4. Keep open communication, because communicating is what the listener does.
True.
Right? Don't sit there and lecture people. You have to listen. If you're going to be a good communicator, you have to be a good listener.
Yeah.
You're not there to teach a class.
They're coming to you because they respect you. They, they want to be you ultimately.
Yeah.
So it's important to listen.
Okay. So schedule time. So I mean, that could be something as simple as lunch, or finding 5 minutes, or carpooling together from work to home. I would recommend if the first time you engage for a mentor, to buy them lunch. I think that's probably the best way to start.
That is a good idea.
It doesn't have to be Ruth's Chris or whatever, but it doesn't have to be McDonald's either. Find a nice.
I mean, I could go for a good steak. Just saying.
Okay. Yeah.
For any potential mentees out there listening, I like
steak and taters wouldn't go amiss.
steak and taters.
Yeah. Because the idea is it's supposed to be, like you said, scheduling time. The time has to be, useful. All of this is going to set up. You're going to schedule the time. You're going to set your expectations during like the first meetings or so. You know, along that number 6, you're going to create homework. So the mentor is going to say, okay, what do you want to get out of this? Here's what I think you should go look at because you want to be the best sysadmin ever. You know, maybe you want to go look at this, listen to these podcasts, you know, read this book, that kind of thing. So what would the homework be like? Come back to me with some idea of where you want to be in 6 months. Are you talking like goals?
Yeah, so I think it could be all of that. So, you know, goals and what they're looking forward to, things that they want to learn, to, you know, podcasts to listen to, books to read, blogs to read. I've created like lab-ish homework before for stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, for them to complete, right? Because, I mean, if they're not going to school and they don't really know exactly where to start, you can say, oh, well, go capture some packets and tell me what you found.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, that kind of thing. You know, go set up Snort and write a rule that captures this. Depending on what their level is.
Do you think the mentor-mentee relationship sometimes gets confused for like the guy who needs a job, so he tries to woo someone to bring him in?
That's possible.
I've had that happen before, when in fact it didn't need to happen that way, because the guy was like super smart already and he got his own stuff, but it just seems like that it was being used as more of a networking opportunity than a mentor-mentee kind of thing. And that's a different kind of relationship, just, you know, the networking meetup or whatever. Because I think in the end, the mentor is supposed to get as much out of it from the mentee. The mentor is supposed to learn from the mentee just as much as the mentee is supposed to learn from the mentor.
For sure. I mean, even if it's patience.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, if you're trying to create homework, you have to understand what the person needs. So you have to ask questions yourself. And, you know, ideally, if the person's asking questions of you, you should know these things. So you may end up having to do homework on your own.
Yeah, for sure.
Know, to give back to the mentee and go, okay, here's what you should be looking at. So
I always go by, I can't remember who told me this, but if you could not easily explain something to someone, you don't know it well enough.
Oh, I seem to remember. Yes, that was a very
Something
inspiring
like
quote from someone that I can't remember either.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll just say Amanda Berlin made it up, so that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Original quote
That's
for
right.
me.
Original quote. Yeah. Stolen from the internet. So you've got a lot of the same things on the mentees that you have on the mentors. Find a good fit. You know, put forth effort. Well, I guess that, you know, I would hope that means, you know, that you're wanting to make this a thing. How long should the mentor-mentee relationship last? I mean,
however long they want. I mean, it could be months to years, I guess. Like I still have
until you hire them.
Mentors until you hire them. I still have mentors, like people that I've looked up to since I started in tech that I learn from consistently.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's InfoSec or not, like they're just. I like picking my mentors for their personality as well, so I can try and learn other things from them.
Yeah. So let's say that you have not done any of these 7 things and you find that it's a poisonous relationship. How do you how do you let them down? I mean, it's almost like breaking up with a girlfriend or something. You know, it's not you, it's me. I have to be a better me before I'm a better we. You know.
Don't ask me. I'm bad about that stuff.
You just do the fade away. You just.
I do the fade away.
Great.
Because I feel like with anything ever going bad in my life, if I just ignore it long enough, it goes away.
Wow.
Which worked really well in my marriage.
Oh, look, this is not the psychology couch, okay? Those kinds of people get $300 an hour for this kind of stuff, all right?
Is it hot in here?
Yeah, I know. It just got real uncomfortable. Ugh. Great.
I should have warned you guys first.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Mr. Betcher, what do you do? What do you do for mentors? How do you handle your mentors? Or mentees, I mean.
Well, I mean, if they give you an assignment, they're doing it because they believe that it would be valuable for you. And keep in mind, they're your mentor. They, in essence, have the knowledge that you don't, so that you can take a step forward in your career, right? And be that person. Yeah. You may choose a mentor that's 2 levels up from you. That's great.
Yeah.
But don't take that relationship lightly. And if they tell you, look, I read this book, I think it's really great, I recommend it, you damn well better read that book before you talk to them again.
Yeah.
And be ready to talk about it too. Because they feel that it's important enough to give to you to say, hey, I found this valuable, you might too. I would at least read it. If I get no value out of it, that's fine. I can still have a conversation about it. But it's more likely the case that you will, or that I will get value out of it, and really, bring your A game, right? When you see your mentor, or when you're working on the things that they have you work on, no matter what it is.
Yep.
Take it seriously.
Yep.
Because it's volunteer time for them.
I find that's one of the hardest things to get from a mentee.
What? Return on investment?
The hard work and investment in the relationship, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, let's talk about that. There's come under a good fit?
There are very few, if not any, people in the world today that have been very successful that have not put in hard work.
Sure. But,
yep.
Like I said,
it is. If you're not working hard, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not going to matter what you have as a mentor or who you have as a mentor. It's never going to matter if you don't actually do the work yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is it just an example, like you said, they don't want to put in the time and effort? I mean, is that something you should be upfront with them about in the beginning? It's like, if I see you're not doing this, then, I'm just gonna have to absolve myself of you, and, we're just gonna have to part ways. I mean, I'm not talking like put up contract and, like go down to the, notary and stuff, but I mean, there should be some kind of social contract in place to say, you need to do X, Y, and Z for you to get anything out of this. Otherwise it's going to fail.
Right. I mean, and there are different levels of mentorship too, right? Like I like that structured version. I've always really enjoyed having, the structure, so I know exactly what's expected of me, and telling others what's expected of them. But then there's others, like just real casual, hey, if I need an ear or an extra eye on something, can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've had those too.
Yep. Yeah, we get that a lot on the podcast. People email us, bds.podcast@gmail.com. Hey, you guys, your podcast is awesome. I really enjoy listening to it. I have a question because I've been a sysadmin and I'm trying to break into InfoSec. What is some of the ways that, it's very, very casual in many respects for us. And then I've got some folks around here that, I've met through CSEC East that are like, hey, I want to get better at, doing vulnerability management or something. What are, some of the tips? And, we go and have lunch, and mine are fairly short term. I haven't had any that have lasted for a really long time. I don't know how to, I don't know. I don't think I have that much in the tank to be able to put out that much, I will say I have tried to have a mentor once that said, I don't answer a lot of email, and, you're probably just going to have to catch me, when I'm in town to talk about things. And I don't do well. He said, you can call me any time of the night because I have insomnia, but yeah, a lot of it is just going to be on you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I think Mr. Bretcher knows who I'm talking about. So yeah, so what's this at the bottom? Mentoring frameworks. Is that a?
Yeah, I saw the other day on Twitter somebody was coming up with a mentoring framework. I
Okay.
can find it again, but I
Yeah.
know. Do you know Jimmy Vo?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Vogue.
Okay, I know him and somebody else was working on it. Kind of
Okay.
just
Oh, there's a
probably to
Wiley book on it.
incorporate
There's a whole
what?
yeah. There's a Wiley book written back in
Oh,
1995.
Wiley.
Mentoring frameworks. It is compelling to
Oh,
discover life cycle theorists had powerful role models and mentors.
wow.
Wow. Yeah, there's a whole book on
Huh.
it. Huh.
You should tell them they're a little late to the game.
Yeah. Well, there's no original ideas. It's all on the internet there. So,
Yeah, I know.
key to successful mentoring programs. Wow, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Okay. Well, I mean, I can add some of these things into the show notes as well. Hopefully, somebody will get something out of them. There you go. Instant mentoring. Boom. Just add water. Just add copy paste. So, well,
This is a great one-way mentoring. Is the podcast.
yeah, there you go. And yeah, people do say that we actually influence people to do things every week. So go out and get some of them IDS rules and start
All right.
curating them and make that a thing. Go help your SecOps people. Curate those messages and get them into firewalls and such. So, well, I guess that's it for this week, right? Everybody's good? Do we have any other parting thoughts or parting shots across the bow here?
Nope.
Miss Amanda wants more mentees, so send all your...
No, I'm tapped.
Just remember, folks, communication is what the listener does.
Did what? Oh, that's deep. Whoa.
Wow.
Hey, I said
Can
that
we
already.
name the
Did you not?
Yeah.
Mind blown.
I don't know. Just the way you said it, we should name this episode of the podcast that.
Go for it.
Bet you want to have a podcast. No. We'll figure something out. All right, so shout outs. We have one link in the show notes. We're going to add Miss Hannelore on our Slack channel. Has a fantastically long podcast list that she listens to. So we added that to the bottom of the list. There's a bunch of really interesting podcasts in there. Some of them educational, some of them not. But yeah, it's that'll be a link for the week. We'll call that the link of the week or whatever. I don't know if that'll be a permanent thing, but yeah, Miss Hannelore's quite the contributor to our Slack channel. So it's awesome she's on there. So. Miss Berlin, ladies first, how would people get a hold of you if they wanted to discuss items on the show or, track you down for possible mentor opportunities or, maybe they want you to be their mentee?
Slack and Twitter is the best. So BreakSec has a Slack channel. What is it? BreakSec.
Signup.team.
Signup.team. Yes. And Twitter, both are at InfoSyster, INFOSYSTIR.
TIR. Okay. All right. Mr. Betcher, if people wanted to reach out and, if they want to learn about, blowing malware up in sandboxes and learning how to be a better, coder, developer, or one-man developing team, how would they go about doing that?
Jeez, does she read or does she listen to all of these?
Dude, yes, she does.
500 of them.
I know.
She's a beast, man.
What?
She said she listens to some of those at like 2.6 times speed. I don't know
one
how
in
she's doing
each
that.
year.
Oh, one in each year. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if she has an 8-hour commute, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, at 2.6 times, I mean, a 30-minute podcast would be about 14 minutes. So,
I don't know.
So, yeah, Mr. Betcher, how do people get a hold of you?
Twitter. My handle is @BetcherPwned.
Yes, and he's on and off on our Slack channel. Mostly off. But I'm trying to get him on it more often. He's going to run one of our book clubs in the near future, I have a feeling. So we're going to make that a thing. So we'll do something on malware. We'll take one of the malware books and do one of those. So, so you can follow me at Brian Brake, BRYAN BRAKE. You can also follow our official BreakSec podcast Twitter at BreakSec, BRAKESEC. I mentioned the Slack channel, breaksec.signup.team. It's https breaksec.signup.team. We have about 150 people in there, and we're always on. We have people from all over the world, so even if you're in England or Australia, we've got several people from. We got a couple people from Finland. We'd like you to come on. Predominantly English, but I think Tyler did spit some French at me the other day, so that was pretty cool. I was telling people I was learning French on Duolingo. So, Hack in the Box is still going on. You can go to their website, Amsterdam, from I think 10 to 14 May. Oof, I want to get that right. Hack in the Box. If you sign up for tickets. You can go to that. It's going to be in Amsterdam. That's right. And I'm just double checking dates. So we have a Patreon as well. It's we believe in the value for value model. So if you are interested in supporting our show, you can do it for as little as $1 an episode. So
36th floor. Wow.
What is?
Hack in the Box.
Yeah. When's the dates?
I'm looking.
You're killing me.
It doesn't say on the homepage.
You're killing me, though. Yeah. Great. I'm gonna have to.
I think you hit it in the last show notes.
Yes, I did. Thank you. What would I do without you?
Cry in the corner.
Yes. Balled up.
That's what you do with me too.
Yes. Previously
Cry in the corner.
published. Okay. So,
April 10th through 14th?
Yeah, 10th through the 14th. Right? Okay. So now that we've gotten all that straightened out, when you buy a ticket, you can get a 10% discount by typing in Breaking Security. April 10th through 14th, April 2017, not May. So May would be even lovelier in Amsterdam, but this is April. So yeah, you can get 10% discount by using Breaking Security. I think the CFP is done and the early bird tickets as well. So cfp.hackinthebox.com.
Also on April 22nd is B-Sides Nashville.
Oh, that's right.
Which is my first keynote.
That's right. You're going to be doing that. That's awesome. What's your keynote going to be on?
No clue.
Okay. Well.
We trust you.
I don't know. The derp is still going on with the media, so
What happened to that zero trust model that we keep talking about?
There you go. Yeah.
In security.
Yep. There's still some tickets available for B-Side Seattle as well, so you can come up here and meet some people.
I do want to go to Seattle.
Hey, there you go. It's I think they're like $15 for a ticket, so you can get up here and.
Except my flight's like $800.
Oh well, if you'd have got accepted for a talk, they might have been able to help you out there. So yeah, we're on Tumblr, we're on SoundCloud, we have an RSS feed, we're in the iTunes store. Thank you for all the comments on there. We're on the Google Play Store. Like I said, the value for value model, we love that. If you think you actually like our product and what we're putting out here, please feel free to give us some money. It goes to supporting the podcast and paying for infrastructure costs. So, yeah, please, sir, may I have some more? Anyway, well, that was it for this week on Breakdown Security. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see y'all soon.
Bye.
And we're done. Ooh, God, I ramble like a mofo, man. Oh, Hack in the Box.
I didn't want to tell you.
Telling people to get tickets for something in May that doesn't exist. I'm like, oh, what an idiot. Why do people
I bought my flight and it was wrong. Stupid Brian breaking down security.
Well, to be fair, Amsterdam in May would probably be just as good or better than April.
Right?
That's on my bucket list, so
Uh, I guess it's only $300 to fly to Seattle, so it's not too bad.
Yeah,
they pay for your travel if you get a talk submitted.
Yeah. Actually, it's a fairly decent group of people talking this year. So yeah.
Do they speak English?
Breaking Sie Deutsch. What? I would go to B-Sides Nashville, but it's pretty much 2 legs any way I go. I don't think they have a Seattle to Nashville.
So. I'm driving.
Oh, wow.
It's like 8 hours. Or 6 out. I don't remember. Somewhere around there.
Damn. Yeah, Break's one of those people that if it's a 2-hour drive, he's like having to stop 3 times.
Oh. I'll drive to anything 8 hours and less.
Look, I just get out the big gulp bottle and I can just power through.
Pee back in it.
Give back what I took in.
Right.